In 2020, Netflix released a 30-minute short film called Two Distant Strangers about a young, successful black man who is trapped in a time loop in which he is repeatedly killed by racist cops. No matter what he does, he always, somehow, ends up getting killed by a racist cop. The plot of this film is so hackneyed that it had literally been made before. Netflix was accused of plagiarism by the creator of a 2016 film titled Groundhog Day for a Black Man, which is about a young, successful black man who is trapped in a time loop in which he is repeatedly killed by racist cops, no matter what he does. Netflix responded to the accusation of plagiarism by claiming that it was coincidence, a case of inferior minds think alike. The mind at the helm of Netflix's Wuz Groundhog Day was Trayvon Free, who had worked as a writer for The Daily Show during its Trevor Noah era, over the course of which The Daily Show lost 72% of its viewership.
So we decided to sit down with some cops to see why they're
racist
under attack. Tonight on. There's gonna be a graphic right here.
No graphic.
No graphic? Oh.
Trayvon Free had also worked as a writer on Full Frontal with Samantha Bee.
But it turns out the police did have to step in when extremists were discovered in their town. No, not ISIS. White people.
That show had a Rotten Tomatoes score of 26% and was cancelled in 2022. Wuz Groundhog Day was Trayvon Free's directorial debut. From the opening, Wuz Groundhog Day reeks of amateurism. After a few stock footage establishing shots, the first character beat is Phil Connors waking up. Internet, what are the worst cliches in student films? Reddit, what's your take?
Waking up in bed.
Waking up in bed? Your protagonist wakes up, puts his clothes on.
Okay, industrial scripts, what do you reckon? Number 1.
Introducing characters as they wake up.
Cora, thoughts?
Opening up in the morning when the main character wakes up.
So Chung Da has some thoughts on a post titled Student Film Cliché. First on the list,
waking up in bed.
Alright, nofilmschool.com, what do you think?
Introducing characters as they wake up.
Not only is the opening to Wuz Groundhog Day the most common student film cliché, it dampens the impact of subsequent dramatic beats. The first time Phil Connors wakes up after death is particularly important, but the dramatic beat is weakened by the trite opening. A much better opening to this film would be a J-cut cold open.
Oh my god. He's so cute.
Now we skip past the garbage cliche opening, the wake up after death beat has far more impact, and the light-hearted character building exchange between Phil Connors and his hookup comes as a cathartic moment that expresses Phil's relief in finding out that it was all just a dream. But the scene is also more entertaining now because it shows his catharsis turning to worry as he is hit with extreme deja vu. Also, opening on an image of the dog communicates the importance of the dog. The dog is the finish line. If Phil Connors can get to his dog, he wins. So after a banal exchange in which Phil Connors explains that he has to get home to feed his dog, he takes off. Phil Connors heads outside, lights up a cigarette, then bumps into some guy on the sidewalk, causing a minor altercation. This attracts the attention of Officer Trope, and the first brutality begins.
I'll just offer to pay.
A cigarette?
Yes, it is.
Don't smell like no cigarette.
So Phil Connors immediately hits Officer Trope with attitude.
Your sense of smell is not my problem.
Officer Trope sees Phil Connors' money roll. This gets him suspicious, and he asks to see inside Phil Connors' bag.
Put the bag down, step against the wall for me.
What? I'm good, actually, man.
Again, Phil brings a lot of attitude. Now, Officer Trope is in the wrong here. A cop cannot stop and search because he finds a roll of money on someone, at least not in New York. However, the correct response isn't,
what? I'm good, actually, man.
Then trying to take off. The correct response is to cooperate. Let the wanker do his search, then file a complaint with the police department. If you really want to be a thorn in the cop's side, get the contact details of a few witnesses who were on the scene, try to acquire some car and security cam footage, take this to a civil lawyer, and file suit. But don't fucking escalate with an armed cop. So Phil Connors continues to resist Officer Trope's order and gets arrested. He struggles, a couple more cops rush in and they ragdoll him. Here is the first instance of what I will call student film symbolism.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
Did you get it, guys? Did you get the symbolism? Do you understand the significance of this scene?
I can't breathe!
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna have a crack at student film symbolism.
You black son of a bitch.
Hey, you, $5?
Give me the money.
Oh my god, they killed Jesus.
So Phil Connors wakes up again, has some deja vu and takes off. Fortunately, the nightmare vision of his own death has cured him of his fuck you pig attitude.
The inaccuracy of your sense of smell is not my problem.
Oh, guess not.
That, some more magic tobacco in your pocket, or you just happy to see me?
The only people happy to see cops are white people and other cops.
Yes, I'm sure the 459 white Americans who were shot dead by police the year this film came out were delighted to see those cops just before their death. A Groundhog Day movie needs to get the audience to emotionally invest in the character. In Groundhog Day, Phil Connors starts out as a careerist asshole, but we warm to him over the course of the movie as he betters himself and begins to appreciate the people around him instead of viewing them as props in a news report about a groundhog predicting the weather. In Edge of Tomorrow, Major William Cage starts out as a coward who tries every trick he can to get out of combat, but he grows into a proficient, brave warrior, willing to risk his own life for others. In Wuz Groundhog Day, Phil Connors comes off as an overly defensive wanker with the temperament of a fussy toddler and a chip on his shoulder the size of Ronda Rousey's drop-off.
Big combination!
That's it! And later in the movie, when he talks to Officer Trope, Phil hasn't changed at all. He still has a chippy attitude and a victim mentality.
You guys over-police our neighborhoods, over-punish us, lock us up for life for some shit that white boys joke about in their memoirs.
He's an insufferable, entitled wee prick. He just spent the night with a beautiful woman. He's a successful graphic designer. By the way, man, AI is putting you out of a job in a few years. Sorry to tell you. He's healthy, he has a good doggo, and all he fucking does is complain.
The system rewards you guys with the best possible prize for the only thing you had nothing to do with, being white.
This isn't a character the audience can emotionally invest in. If he does end up permanently dead, fuck him! I don't care! I would feel bad for the dog, because he has to go hungry. So we get a rerun of the first encounter. Phil Connors gets away from the grapple this time, so Officer Trope pulls out his gun, a Dan Wesson M1911.45, and shoots him. So after being murdered a second time, Phil Connors decides to have breakfast at his hookup's place so he won't run into Officer Trope. But this does him no good because a SWAT team comes barging through the door and Officer Trope shoots him dead with a Ruger SR556. Now this makes no sense because if Phil Connors is reliving the same day again and again, how could Officer Trope be on beat duty the first 3 times but form part of a SWAT team the 4th time, then be back on beat duty again after that? It's almost as if it's not racism that's trying to kill Phil Connors, it's the script. So for the next kill, I think our boy Trayvon just ran out of ideas and gave up trying to make the death by brutality convincing.
Hey! Hey!
The movie shows the exact same kill in the exact same circumstance several times after this, and this is the point when a viewer is going to start asking questions. Evidently, Officer Trope has it in for Phil Connors and won't let him live. Okay, so why doesn't Phil Connors go down the fire escape, or try going up to the roof and hide out there, or try getting into one of the other apartments in the building, or head into the basement and hide there until Officer Trope takes off, or call a taxi and jump into it as soon as it arrives, or throw a Molotov cocktail from the roof to start a fire to distract Officer Trope? Not all of this is going to work, but one of them will. Why doesn't Phil Connors think to do any of this? Instead, he tries the exact same tactic many times, run away from Officer Trope, and every time Officer Trope pulls out his high point model JHP .45 and shoots him. So Phil Connors asks his hookup for her advice, which Full Frontal with Samantha Bee writer Trayvon Free decides is an opportunity to remind the viewer of how sexist and racist America is.
You got a gun?
I'm a black woman in America. Damn right I got a gun.
Identity politics aside, the despot approves of this young woman's gun ownership. To quote George Orwell,
"That rifle on the wall of the labourer's cottage or working class flat is the symbol of democracy. It is our job to see that it stays there."
Fuck me if he could see the country now. He'd probably tell us that 1984 was a warning, not a fucking manual. So Hookup says,
if I didn't want to shoot a nigga, I would just, talk to him.
And Phil Connors decides to talk to Officer Trope, and it goes well. Officer Trope tells him,
well, if your past is any sign of your future, I'd get the fuck out of here.
But then...
Hey, you freaks! Let me see your hands! Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Where'd your friends go?
Now, this creates a plot hole, but more on that in a bit. The important thing is that a black man can't walk 20 feet in this country without being gunned down by a cop. So Phil Connor's next tactic is to ask Officer Trope to drive him home, which The Daily Show with Trevor Noah writer Trayvon Free decides is the perfect opportunity to remind the viewer how racist America is. But first, intersectional bullshit.
You got a wife or husband or non-gender conforming partner?
Wife.
Then, the all-important narrative.
Some people do commit crime, but what choice do they have when white people are born on the third base and niggas is born outside the stadium?
Yes, Netflix really did say that black people have no choice but to commit crime. They can't help it. They're just, born that way. It's like birds fly south for winter, salmon swim upstream, black people commit crime. Netflix are a textbook example of the bigotry of low expectations.
The system rewards you guys with the best possible prize.
See, this is what I mean when I say this guy has no character growth and remains an unlikable dickhead the entire movie. He refers to white people as you guys, as if white Americans are a monolithic collective, as opposed to the reality, which is that white Americans come from many backgrounds, cultures, and socioeconomic groups. A New England WASP is not the spirit brethren of an Appalachian hillbilly. A left coast 98% white gated community have nothing but contempt for white trash MAGA hat wearing hicks. These people do not belong to the same community, but this tunnel-visioned cretin is convinced that they are all beneficiaries of the system, which is always at work to keep him down. He is a victim, and you are his oppressor, unless you're black, in which case he is your brother in oppression. And if you belong to neither of those races, it doesn't matter, you don't really enter his worldview, except as some vaguely ethnic component of the intersectional alliance against the white oppressor. After Phil Connor's rant, there's a drone shot showing their names. So Phil gets dropped off home, and then the twist. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess the twist. Let me know in the comments if you get it. Karen, iPhone, start the clock.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Karen, iPhone, why?
I mean, sometimes you run, most times you fight. One of the guys chokes you out a wee bit too much. But this one, my friend, this one was a noble performance.
Alright, so as it turns out, Officer Trope is also experiencing the same day again and again, and every day he chooses to murder Phil Connors. Now, I will say, the best thing about Wuz Groundhog Day is Andrew Howard's performance as Officer Trope. He's great.
Best of the bunch. It was my goddamn favorite.
So after making his confession, Officer Trope trains his PLR-16 5.56 by 45mm on Phil Connors and wastes him. And now, student symbolism number 2. Do you get it, guys? Do you get what the movie is saying? Oh my god, this is like the best themes and symbolism since the way they dealt with the mental health theme in Thunderbolts, which was easily the best Marvel movie since the previous Marvel movie. Karen iPhone, roll response number 2. Hey, you Irish. I fucking hate the Irish. Fuck you.
On Raglan Road of an autumn day.
So this creates a plot hole from earlier when Phil Connors was shot by 2 cops. That scene suggested that he was caught in a time loop and that some cosmic force was ensuring that he would be killed by racist police every day until he, reads Black Rednecks and White Liberals by Thomas Sowell and realizes that all that shite his head was filled with at school about race and identity was politically motivated trash. But it turns out that he is being hunted by 1 cop, which means that him being hunted down by the 2 cops earlier was just an astonishing coincidence. In addition to creating a plot hole, the twist revealing that Officer Trope is also trapped in the time loop is a wasted opportunity and destroys the narrative of the film. Wuz Groundhog Day's narrative is that black people are being hunted down by racist cops, but what is clearly shown here is that Officer Trope is motivated by sadism. Murdering the same young guy repeatedly brings him immense pleasure. He's a psychopath. So now this is no longer about police brutality. It's about a young man caught in a time loop with a demented psycho determined to hunt him down. And that's a fucking excellent premise. The problem is, Trayvon Free doesn't understand the potential he has created, nor does he understand that the narrative contradicts his own political messaging because he cannot see beyond the character's skin color, which is quite ironic. Free uses his movie to assert that cops base their actions on the skin color of those they police, but he himself refuses to look beyond the skin color of his own characters and search for a deeper motivation beyond
racist, pure racism, racism, racist, racism, racist, racial discrimination, racism, racist.
The film cuts to a scene of Phil Connors talking casually with his hookup about his time loop quandary. There's no explanation of why she has accepted his insane story. You would think that a girl with enough sense to keep a gun in the house would say to the man, "Oh yeah, you're caught in a time loop in which a racist cop kills you every day. Wow, that's really something, Phil. Yeah, so good luck with that. I gotta go to work now, so it's been great, but you gotta go home now, bye." But no, she believes him without question. Wuz Groundhog Day finishes with Phil Connors expressing his determination to get home to his dog. Then the film provides a list of black Americans who have been killed by police, along with information detailing what some of them were doing when they were shot. The assertion made here is that the shooting of these people was motivated by anti-black racism. This is a bad argument because no causal links are provided. I am very familiar with this novice style of argument because I taught academic essay writing for 5 years, and my students constantly made this mistake. For example, a student might write that corporate America is sexist because only 12% of Fortune 500 CEOs are female, but she would fail to provide any causal links. That is, any evidence to demonstrate that keeping women out of leadership was a policy among top US companies. She would also not even consider the possibility that only a fraction of CEOs are women for reasons other than sexism. In order for an argument to be compelling, 3 components are required: evidence, causal link, logical conclusion. Bear in mind, evidence is not the same as proof. Evidence is information or data that may support an assertion. Proof is irrefutable confirmation of the assertion. At the end of Wuz Groundhog Day, we have evidence and conclusion, but no causal link. This renders the argument extremely weak. You might still accept the argument being made here if you are politically inclined to do so, but you should still demand the evidence which shows the causal link and consider other possibilities for unjust police shootings, such as poor police procedure, bad training, inferior recruitment standards, standards being lowered to meet DEI quotas, aggressive escalation by the person who was shot, accident, and mistaken identity. The final piece of text before the credits is, "And George Floyd went to the grocery store." This is true. And there he used a fake $20 bill to buy cigarettes, which caused the cashier to call the police. Floyd was a career criminal who had been arrested 9 times and served jail time. Now, I wanted to be as accurate as possible on this topic, so I asked Google, how many crimes was George Floyd convicted of? And Google Gemini AI informed me that, quote, George Floyd was not convicted of any crimes. Our corporate overlord has spoken. George Floyd was not convicted of any crimes.
Right. But according to Wikipedia, between 1997 and 2005, George Floyd was convicted of 8 crimes. He served 4 years in prison after accepting a plea bargain for a 2007 aggravated robbery in a home invasion.
I said right.
Wuz Groundhog was made in response to the death of George Floyd at a time when cops were being vilified in American media. Paramount cancelled the reality show Cops as a direct response to the George Floyd incident. Cops had been running since 1989, though the show was renewed around the same time Full Frontal with Samantha Bee got shit-canned.
White people.
Live PD was cancelled the day after Cops. LA's Finest, a Bad Boys spin-off series about LAPD detectives, was cancelled in October 2020. Fortnite removed police cars from the game because running around trying to murder random strangers is fine, but the presence of cop cars is intolerable. Even Marvel got in on the fuck the police narrative. In Wakanda Forever, the police are presented as the bad guys trying to hunt down our black female heroes, and Riri Williams' first major action in the movie is to bomb a police roadblock.
I got a special delivery for y'all in 3, 2, 1.
And for all you Riri Williams fans out there, Ironheart will be coming to your Disney Plus account next month. Ironheart follows the story of science and engineering genius Riri Williams as she endeavours to become the first black woman to have enough smoke blowing up her ass to form a star nebula.
I heard Riri Williams was a genius. Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
You are not the first genius at MIT.
How come you're not working at one of those fancy tech firms?
Ant-Man 3, Cassie's Revenge, featured a shoehorned-in character introduction for the movie's villain, Cassie Lang, in which Ant-Man picks her up from a police station. He learns that she shrank a cop car, which might easily have killed one or several cops. Then she goes off on an angry anti-police rant.
You shrank a cop car? What were you thinking?
What was I supposed to do? Look the other way? They were clearing out a homeless camp in the middle of the night.
The first cut of Captain Cape Shit probably contained an anti-police narrative, if Falcon and Winter Soldier is anything to go by.
They will never let a black man be Captain America. And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be.
But Disney reshot the entire movie because hating America isn't cool anymore. Wuz Groundhog Day won an Oscar for Best Live Action Short. I have no idea what it was up against and couldn't be bothered looking up such an irrelevant category. But that is, to my knowledge, the second worst Oscar win of all time. The worst is Women Talking beating Top Gun Maverick for Adapted Screenplay. Because who wants to watch this? When you can watch this?
Freedom and safety are the ultimate goals, and it is men who prevent us from achieving those goals.
Imagine what could have been done with Wuz Groundhog Day if the writer could have gotten beyond his racial prejudices. Well, we don't have to imagine, because the Despot now presents Edge of Groundhog. Karen iPhone, hit it! So Officer Trope drops Phil Connors off at his apartment and gives his speech, and Phil replies, "Man, this is fucked up even for a racist-ass cop like you." "What? You think I'm shooting you cause you're black? Kid, I don't give a shit what color you are. I'd shoot you if you were white. I'd shoot you if you were fucking blue. I'd hate every motherfucker in this city. For 30 years I've been serving these assholes. And what do I get for it? Dirty looks, attitude, low pay, bullshit pension. You know a retired cop doesn't even get a gold watch anymore. But as long as I shoot you every day, I can do whatever I want to him." You're fucking crazy, man. It's New York, kid. Everybody's fucking crazy. Now the narrative perspective shifts to Trope. He gets in his car, throws on some banging 80s tunes, drives to the mall, takes a submachine gun out of his car trunk, and... He spends the next 15 minutes shooting up the mall, tallying up a score of 18 kills and 61 wounded, before he's shot dead by cops. And now, the glorious Groundhog Day genre montage. He walks down Times Square naked, smoking a cigar and carrying a Tommy gun. Tourists start taking photos of him, he poses for them for a little, then starts shooting into the crowd, firing away until the cops take him out. Phil tries to hide on the roof, Trope shoots him. Trope walks into a nightclub full of college kids dancing to some unlistenable shite and fucking unloads on them. Phil hides in the basement, Trope shoots him. Trope drives his car down a beachfront, mowing down pedestrians. He's standing on the street waiting for Phil when an explosion erupts across the pavement. He glances over and laughs, then waits for Phil outside the building, and... he walks around his own police precinct, killing everyone he comes across, including close personal friends. He somehow gets hold of a tank and goes on a rampage, using it to crush anything and anyone that gets in his way. He shoots Phil. He flies a helicopter's blades through a BlackRock corporate team building exercise at Central Park. He has a nice coffee. He shoots up a Starbucks. He shoots Phil. He goes skydiving without a parachute. He blows all his money on hookers. He shoots Phil. He walks up to an elementary school, machine gun in hand, but then stops and says to himself, "Yeah, alright, maybe this is going a little too far." Then he looks over at some asshole who just ran a red light, hitting an old lady, and... So Officer Trope is outside Phil's building, and Phil's a little late for his appointment today. So he checks the basement, nothing, checks the roof, nothing. Okay, he's getting a bit worried. He bangs on Hookup's door, she answers. Where's Phil Connors? He's wanted for, murder. He left a few minutes ago. Trope pokes his head out the apartment and notices the fire escape at the end of the hallway. Fuck! He shoots Hookup dead and calls it in. I got a homicide at the American Gardens building. Suspect is armed and likely on foot. African-American male, early 20s. Name Phil Connors. Address 1857 Scott Avenue. Apartment 6. It's not long before the cops bring Phil in. Officer Trope enters the interrogation room and they have a chat. I know where you live, kid. I know where your mother lives. And your sister. And your dog. This is my time loop. And when I've had my fun, I'll go win $10 million at a casino and let you go. But let's say one day you do escape. You even get to your family before I do. I go to a casino, I win my money, I pay some Russian gangsters I work with to wipe you and your family out. I get rich, you get dead. You're in my reality, asshole. Play ball. And I'll set you free when I'm good and ready. Just then, another cop comes into the room. Trope, what the hell are you doing, man? See you soon, kid. The next day, the same thing happens. It takes longer to catch Phil this time, and it's close to midnight by the time Trope gets to him. This is your last warning. Try this again, and your family dies. Phil says nothing, and Trope shoots him. The next morning, Trope is standing outside the apartment building, looking satisfied, when Phil Connors comes out the doors, heads straight for Trope, and empties a six-shooter into him. Trope respawns almost exactly where he was just killed. He looks over at the building, and Phil walks out calmly. Yeah, I didn't last long after I shot you. Your friends got here fast. You don't control the time loop. I do. As long as I get shot, time resets. From now on, every time you come after me, I'm gonna try to kill you, and I won't reset time when I do. You could kill me in a shootout 100 times in a row, and it won't make a difference. I'll kill you eventually, then give myself up. And yeah, maybe I'll go to jail, or maybe the jury will let me off on self-defense, who knows. But you'll be dead. Trope shoots him, and this sets off a montage of shootouts between the two. Trope wins them all, but about a dozen shootouts in, he gets badly wounded before he can kill Phil. He realizes Phil is getting better, he's lost control of the time loop, and he should quit while he's ahead. So at the next respawn, okay, kid, you win. This was fun, I guess. I tell you what, let's go to the casino tonight. We both walk away rich. You know what I noticed? For me, the time loop starts in bed, but you're always in the exact same place, doing the exact same thing every time. The time loop for you starts on the street, doesn't it? Just before I come outside. You can't escape me. You just woke up, didn't you? Trope pulls out his gun, but Phil doesn't even flinch. Trope empties the clip into him. Two other cops come running round the corner. Fuck! Trope shoots one of the cops, then gets wasted and respawns. The next morning, Phil comes out. Trope holds up his hands, backs away, and walks off. That night, he goes to the casino, and after getting frisked by security, he heads straight for the roulette table. And there, he's surprised to see Phil. Officer Trope, I thought I'd see you here. Trope ignores him and puts $186,500 on 14. It's a disaster. He loses everything. What? No, it was fucking 14! I've been here a bunch of times, it's always 14! Well, I was only here once, cause I knew I only had to remember one outcome. You probably tried to memorize like 10 bets in a row, right? That's the thing, Officer Trope. Winning changes the outcomes. You ever see Back to the Future 2? Well, Biff's plotline never made any sense to me, because he would win his first bet, right? But realistically, that win starts changing the outcomes, so his almanac immediately becomes worthless, which is why I only bet once. But that was enough, because I'm a millionaire now. Did you borrow that 200k from the Russians? Good luck paying that back. Phil walks off. Trope looks desperately around and sees a security guard with a holstered gun. He runs at the guard, grapples him to the ground, pulls the gun out of the holster and aims it at Phil. But before he can pull the trigger, Phil walks off, leaving Trope bleeding to death on the floor of the casino.